Hey guys, Dylan from Noble Records coming at you with another video. I had an idea to do this kind of top 10 most wanted records. This is a list that'll probably always keep changing, but there's some things that are just really high up on my want list that I've just been wanting forever. Here lately in the past year, I found a ton of stuff that would have probably been on my top 10 last year. This is the first time I'm doing a video like this. For this list, I kind of put in things that I could actually own. You know, there's records that are $5,000 records that even if I had them, I wouldn't keep them. I'd sell them and put the money back into the shop, you know. So these are records that I could probably actually one day own that I realistically, I think I will have these at some point. So these are my most wanted records. Here's the thing. I don't have these records, so I can't show them to you. So I'm going to put up a graphic of the record if I don't have anything to show for it, but I do have some reissues that I'll show you. So number 10 is a band called Food Brain, album called Social Gathering, 1970. Incredible prog band, proggy, psychedelic. Had the guitar player, so it's an amazing Japanese guitar player named Shinki Chen. If you've never heard of this guy, look into his stuff. Now, he has a record called Shinki Chen, and it is thousands of dollars. There's no way I'll ever have one. I don't even have a reissue of it. I'd really like to have a reissue. Super tough to find. That's an incredible record. Hard rock, early 70s, just right up my alley. Perfect stuff. But he's an incredible guitar player you don't hear a lot about. There's not much information on him online. Just amazing. But he had a couple different bands. This is one, Food Brain, Social Gathering. This record goes $200 to $300 normally, reasonable price. I was actually in New York City. It's this shop called Face Records, and they had an original Japanese pressing of it, and I had it in my hand, and I wanted it so bad, but I was opening my shop at that time. The shop was going to open in like 3 weeks. And it wasn't the responsible thing to do to buy it. It was like $300, and you know, so I was like, I'm not gonna do it now. I can't. But one day I think I'll own it. It's a really good album. If you like guitar heavy, early hard rock, prog, psych type things, that's it. Number 9 on the list is this one here, and this is not too impossible to find. This is a band called Orangutan, 1971. This is an incredible, along the same lines, but it's a totally different type of record. But it is early 70s hard rock, great guitar stuff, fuzzed out psychedelic hard rock. This is just one I've always wanted. I don't know if it's because of the cover. I mean, the music is amazing, but I just love that cover. This, like I said, is a reissue. It's on Bell Records, and they usually go for $200 to $300, $250. Is about what they usually go for. Number 8 on the list is one this is one of the first psychedelic records I really got into and wanted. This is probably one of the first things I put on my want list. That's July. I know some people in the VC have them. 1968, just amazing psych record. It's right in the right time. 1968 is the perfect year for psych. It's got some pop leanings to it, some pop psych, but it's definitely really good psych. I can't say any good things about this record. I mean, the cover is as psychedelic as you could possibly get, and yeah, it's just a fantastic record. The UK pressings are like $2,000, but the US pressings you can get for $300 or $400. I do have a friend that found one in a thrift store, so hopefully I'll do that. I'll take that route if I can. But yeah, this is just an incredible record. I think that at some point I'll get lucky enough and find one. I almost bought one a couple months ago. A guy had one, but it was a little bit too rough for me. You know, he wanted some serious money for it, and it was just too rough. So I passed on it because I really want a nice clean copy. But that's an incredible psych record. Like I said, if you haven't heard that one, check it out. Number 7 is Pluto, 1971. Incredible hard rock / prog record. It's just one it's got a really super iconic cover. I'll have it right here for you. But 1971, just really, really great stuff. It's right up my alley. You know, I love that early prog stuff. You know, it's just a really solid record, and it's one that's just really tough to find. Those $250 is about what they go for, so it's realistic. I know a couple people who have them, and that's another one that if I could have a reissue, I would be pretty excited to have a reissue just so I can listen to it, because it's one of those things that's so rare you can't stream it anywhere. There's a on YouTube there's a album, you know, you can listen to it on YouTube, but it's just another one. Great record. Never see it. A lot of people don't talk about it, but that's a phenomenal record. So that is number 7 on my list, Pluto, 1971. Number 6 is one that when I was getting into another one, I think I want it so bad because it was just a huge record for me. When I was really getting into psych and prog and started realizing there's this whole world of stuff I had no clue about. This is one of the main ones that I was listening to all the time. It's called Toad from 1971. It's a German prog band. Really, really good stuff. Solid. And those records are about $250. You know, the original German pressings, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. It depends. They hardly ever pop up for sale, especially in the U.S. But yeah, it's just really, really incredible prog. A very, very, very good, clean, smooth listen all the way through. It's just a great record. Even the reissues are a little bit tough to find, but the cover's really cool. It's a gatefold cover. It's got just the face of a frog on it. When I was a kid, my favorite animal was frogs. It's just one of those things. It's the imagery, it's the music, it's just right there. Sweet spot for me. Number 5 would be Pappo's Blues. Now this one I'm cheating a little bit. Pappo's Blues Volume 4 and 5. So I have all the other Pappo's Blues records that I need. But so I'll just show you. This is Pappo's Blues 1, the first Pappo's Blues record. So I've got 2 and 3. That's actually 3 right here. So I've got the original pressings there of 2 and 3, you know, 6 and 7. I have all the Pappo's Blues records except for 4 and 5, and those prices are kind of all over the place on those. They hardly ever pop up for sale, but Pappo's Blues is this incredible South American hard and heavy blues rock. It's just, Pappo is an incredible guitar player. If you haven't heard of Pappo's Blues, please search that out. As soon as I first heard Pappo's Blues, I knew I had to have the first one. As soon as I got the first one, you know, I never thought I would own any more than the first one because they're super, super, super rare. And I got a lead on the rest of them, and I got some killer stuff. And the thing that makes me sick is the guy I got the rest of them from had 4 and 5, and he had just sold them to somebody else. So I was like, ugh! But I just need 4 and 5, and I'll have them all. But Pappo's Blues is just one of my favorite, you know, psychedelic. You know, it's blues rock is what it is. You know, a lot of people categorize it as psych. If you want to be a stickler about it, they're not psych. They're blues rock. But man, it is some fuzzy, hard, acid-soaked blues, electric blues riffs. It's so good. That brings us to number 4. Number 4 is kind of a mysterious one. It's Randy Holden's Population 2. This is a bootleg. There's a long story behind this, but this is a really important, really sweet record for me. So Randy Holden's one of my favorite guitar players. He played in Blue Cheer very briefly. He's only on one side of one Blue Cheer record, New Improved. But he is just one of my absolute favorite guitar players. He's phenomenal. This is 1971 this came out. I got the chance to meet Randy Holden. I interviewed him on my podcast. Within that interview, he told me of the story of how this album was made. So if you haven't heard it, look it up. There's a long story of what happened. But basically, he was signed to Hobbit Records. Hobbit Records completely screwed him. You know, early 70s record labels freaking sucked. And they just screwed people over all the time. So they basically made this record and everything. Randy spent all of his money getting it done. And they just took it and screwed him. And so it never got released. To his knowledge, it never got released. So I'm talking to him. He's like, there's no original copies of it. It never got released. And I'm like, I've seen them. They exist. I mean, I have a friend who has one. He said, no, they don't exist. They never released it. So what I think happened is that they released some promo copies or whatever, because every single copy that's an original first press has a drill hole in it. So the drill hole's like somewhere along in here. But basically, with a lot of old records, if they didn't put them out, or they put them out and they were recalling them or whatever, you know, I know a lot of times you see the corner cut and all that stuff, but to make sure that they couldn't sell it, sometimes they just drill a hole in it. So the original pressings have a hole drilled in it, like someone took a drill and just drilled a hole through a whole stack of them. And it's drilled through the cover, and it's drilled through the label and out the back cover. That's what it is. So that's how you know it's an original first press on Hobbit. But like I said, there's debate to whether it even exists at all. The only reason why I know it exists is because I've seen them. Some of them have sold online for between $500 and $1,000. It's a really, really weird one to want because, like I said, there's debate to whether it's even real. But I know it's real because I've seen one. But anyways, within all that, Randy told me that this had never been officially released. So I connected him with a good friend of mine, Daniel at Ride and Easy Records, and we are reissuing it. Basically, they're doing all the work. I say we, but they're reissuing it. It was supposed to come out the 1st of April, but with the coronavirus stuff, all the plants shut down for a little bit. So it should be out very, very soon. As soon as everything ramps back up, it'll be out. So I'll have a limited edition Noble Records pressing on yellow vinyl. There'll be 200 available. Keep your ear to the ground, because when that happens, they'll sell out fast. But this is a really, really cool record, and it's one of my absolute favorites. And number 4, I would love to own a first pressing of this. That would be like one of the biggest finds for me. That would be huge. So number 3, Lee Morgan, the Cooker. So what sucks about the next couple is that I've had them before. This is a Lee Morgan, the Cooker. This is a audiophile 200 gram pressing of it. As far as I'm concerned, other than the original press, there's some debate on sound quality. A lot of people think the original monos sound way better. I know the one I had sounded amazing. I had an original first press, and one of my really good friends, Corey, I've known him for years and years and years. He'd been begging me for it. For like a year. He begged me for this record. And I was like, it's one of my favorites. I cannot sell it. I don't want to sell it. And then when I went to go open my shop, I realized I needed more money than I thought I did. And so I started selling some things that were tough for me to sell to make sure I could open my shop. So that was one that I sold to him. Actually, I didn't sell it to him. I traded to him for a bunch of stuff to put in the shop on opening day. But that was one I got rid of. But I don't regret it, because now he has it and he loves it. And we have kind of a deal to where if he ever gets rid of it, he calls me. So that could happen. But yeah, that's just another one. It's really high up on my list. It's one of my absolute all-time favorite jazz records. Lee Morgan's just phenomenal. That record is just a freaking perfect jazz record. So that's the best copy I could have outside of an original press. So I'm happy with that one until I'm able to track down another one. Number 2, I'm going to go ahead and just, in a second, switch over to a clip of when I found this record. So I found an original. Number 2 is a first UK press of Led Zeppelin 1 with the turquoise letters. This is when I found it. I've wanted this record since I was a little kid. This is unbelievable that I'm holding this in my hands right now. Freaking out a little bit, but it's a turquoise lettered copy of Led Zeppelin 1. So it was issued at first. The band didn't like that turquoise lettering, and they only a limited amount got out. I've heard that only 2,000 got out, and there was also some errors with the label. This is a label, but there's a misspelling on the label. If you've heard of the Super Hype label, this has a Super Hype label. This is the best of the best versions of it you can get, and man, I gotta say, it's unbelievable that I'm holding it in my hands right now. I've only ever seen pictures of them. It's just in phenomenal shape, and gosh, I can't believe I got it. I mean, it's not something that you see every day. I was pretty excited when I found it, but this was another one that when I went to go open my shop, I needed extra money, so I sold it. So I don't regret selling it, but that's another one that I really need to track down another one. They're findable. They're not that impossible to find. There's about, you know, like I said, a couple thousand allegedly out there. So hopefully one of these days I'll find another one, because Led Zeppelin is my absolute all-time favorite band. So to have that, it would be great. Last, but definitely not least, number one, Grail on the all-time most wanted records list is Farm. From 1971, Farm is a rare private press, hard rock, blues rock, psych rock masterpiece. This record has eluded me so many times. I've almost gotten one a couple times, and it's just one of those that it slipped through my fingers a couple times. So Farm is just this. It's one you got to find. You can't. I don't think you can stream it anywhere. You know. And I put links in the description for these that I can find on YouTube and whatnot. But yeah, this is just an incredible, incredible hard rock album, and you can't find them for under about $500 or $600. They're $500, $600, $700, $800 when you can find them. But they never come up for sale, and even the reissues never come up for sale. And the reissues are expensive. So, you know, it's one of those things. I would love to have one. I do think one day I will have one. That's the number one most wanted record on my list. So it's definitely worth tracking down. And if you are able to find it online just to listen to it, it is just, man, it's right up. I mean, you guys know my taste, that hard and heavy early 70s, you know, acid fuzz rock, just good stuff. That is why it's number one. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you like the video, hit subscribe. But I actually have a couple Instagram accounts. One is Noble Records, and I post everything that I find on Noble Records, things that I have for sale, stuff like that. It's for the shop. But I have this other secret Instagram account called Find This Record, and it is like rare psychedelic recommendations, obscure stuff that the main population can't handle. So if you want more recommendations and stuff like this, check that out. Thank you guys for watching this video. Check out the links in the description. I'll link all these albums on YouTube, so where you can go listen to them. But I hope you guys enjoy this video, and let's get some conversation going in the comments. Tell me what your most wanted Grails are. I would love to hear it. Thank you guys. We'll see you next time.